Most people don't fail at growing strawberries because they lack skill. They fail because they plant them directly in the ground. And strawberries hate bad soil conditions. Too much moisture causes root rot. Rain splashes soil onto the leaves, spreading fungal diseases that destroy plants surprisingly fast. That's why so many beginners give up after one season. But the problem usually isn't the strawberry, it's the environment around it. And strangely enough, one of the best strawberry planters costs almost nothing: a discarded foam box. The same lightweight boxes supermarkets throw away every day can isolate strawberries from soil disease, regulate temperature, and create a nearly perfect growing system. Cool in summer, warm in winter, protected from ground pests. Sometimes the best garden tools aren't bought, they're rescued from the trash. In this video, you're going to learn how to turn free foam boxes into a high-yield strawberry growing system that can keep producing plants year after year. Not with expensive raised beds or commercial fertilizers, with recycled materials and simple biological tricks. You'll learn why strawberries rot so easily in regular soil, how drainage completely changes plant health, why the crown of the plant must stay exposed, and how planting direction affects fruit production. You'll also discover how straw protects strawberries naturally, why banana peels and eggshells become powerful fertilizer, and how runners let a single plant multiply almost endlessly. Because strawberry growing isn't about forcing plants to survive, it's about building an environment where they naturally thrive. And once you understand that, even garbage starts becoming gardening equipment. Why strawberries fail in normal soil. Strawberries are surprisingly delicate plants. Their roots need oxygen constantly. When soil stays wet too long, the roots suffocate and begin rotting almost immediately. At the same time, rainwater splashing soil upward spreads fungal pathogens onto leaves and fruit. That's why strawberries often collapse so quickly after heavy rain. The disease usually starts below the surface long before people notice symptoms above it, and this is where foam boxes become useful. Instead of growing directly in infected ground soil, the strawberries become isolated inside a controlled environment. The box acts like a protective barrier. It improves drainage, reduces soil-borne disease, and even regulates temperature surprisingly well. Foam naturally insulates the roots, protecting them from extreme heat in summer and freezing cold in winter. But preparation matters. Without drainage holes, the box simply traps water and creates the same root rot problem all over again. That's why airflow and drainage become the foundation of the entire system. Because healthy strawberries don't grow in wet soil. They grow in breathable soil, building the foam box system. The setup itself is simple. Start by creating drainage holes in the bottom of the foam box. Around 8 to 10 holes works well for most medium-sized containers. Heating the tip of a screwdriver before piercing the foam creates clean holes without cracking the material apart. Then comes an important mistake many beginners make. Never place the foam box directly on the ground. Direct contact transfers heat, cold, and pests straight into the container. Raising the box slightly on bricks creates airflow underneath and helps block insects from entering through the drainage holes. Next comes the drainage layer. Adding gravel or small stones at the bottom creates a buffer zone where excess water can escape instead of drowning the roots. Above that goes the real growing layer, loose, living soil, not compacted dirt, not sterile commercial mix. Strawberries prefer soft, airy soil, rich in organic matter and microbial life. The goal isn't simply to hold the plant upright, it's to build an ecosystem the roots can breathe inside. The secret of living soil. Most people think fertility comes from chemical fertilizer, but strawberries respond much better to living soil. Healthy garden soil contains massive microbial networks, bacteria, fungi, and beneficial organisms constantly breaking down organic matter into plant nutrients. Some fungi even connect directly to roots, forming underground exchange systems that help strawberries absorb water and minerals far more efficiently. That's why soil texture matters so much. Good strawberry soil should feel loose, soft, and slightly springy when squeezed, not heavy and compact. And surprisingly, fallen leaves and homemade compost often work better than expensive commercial products because they actively feed microbial life instead of just adding nutrients temporarily. Then comes the most important planting detail of all, the crown. The crown is the swollen center where new leaves and flowers emerge. If buried too deeply, it suffocates and rots quickly. Most beginners accidentally kill strawberries here. The crown should remain partially exposed above the soil surface, not fully buried, not completely raised, just enough space to breathe. Because strawberries don't only need water and nutrients, they need airflow around their core. If you've ever lost strawberry plants without understanding why, subscribe. Because small biological details completely change how plants survive. The planting direction, secret. Here's a trick most beginners never learn. Strawberry flowers usually emerge opposite the direction of the runner, the small stem connecting the plant to its parent. That means planting orientation affects where the fruit develops. If the runner side faces inward toward the center of the container, the fruit naturally hangs outward over the edge instead of falling into the soil. That single adjustment changes everything. The strawberries stay cleaner, receive more sunlight, and avoid touching wet soil where rot begins. One small planting angle can dramatically increase healthy fruit production. Then comes protection. Instead of pesticides, companion planting works surprisingly well. Garlic planted near strawberries releases strong sulfur compounds that naturally discourage pests like aphids and mites, while leaving beneficial soil organisms mostly unaffected. Different plants helping each other survive. That's one of the hidden patterns behind natural gardening systems. Nature rarely grows alone. The straw mulch system. Even healthy strawberries fail if the fruit touches wet soil. That's where mulching changes everything. Adding straw, dried grass, or rice husks around the base creates a soft, protective barrier between the fruit and the ground. This layer does several jobs at once. It blocks mud from splashing upward during watering. It slows moisture evaporation from the soil. It suppresses weeds, and it keeps the strawberries cleaner while they ripen. But the biggest benefit is microbial balance. Mulch stabilizes soil moisture, which helps beneficial organisms survive near the roots instead of constantly drying out. And once the soil ecosystem stabilizes, the entire plant becomes healthier. Because strawberries don't just grow above the surface, most of the real activity happens underground. The free fertilizer trick. Expensive fertilizer isn't necessary for sweet strawberries. Kitchen scraps work surprisingly well. Banana peels contain potassium, one of the key nutrients involved in flower and fruit development. Potassium helps strawberries produce larger, sweeter fruit with better overall growth. Eggshells solve another problem. They contain calcium, which strengthens plant tissue and helps prevent fruit deformities and rot. But preparation matters. Banana peels should be dried and chopped into small pieces so they break down faster. Eggshells work best when crushed into fine powder because smaller particles release nutrients more efficiently into the soil. Then, simply sprinkle the mixture beneath the mulch layer. As water moves through the soil, microbes slowly break the material down and deliver nutrients directly to the roots. Nothing synthetic, nothing wasted, just organic matter re-entering the biological cycle naturally. And over time, the strawberries respond with stronger growth and noticeably sweeter fruit. The endless strawberry loop. Here's where strawberries become almost self-replicating. After fruiting season ends, mature strawberry plants begin producing runners, long stems that create baby plants at their tips. Most people cut them off immediately. That's a mistake. Those runners are free new plants. Place a small pot of soil beneath the baby plant and gently pin it down so it stays in contact with the soil surface. While still attached to the parent, the baby receives energy directly through the runner while developing its own roots underneath. Within a few weeks, the roots become strong enough to survive independently. Then the runner can be cut, and suddenly, one strawberry plant becomes 2, then 4, then 10, then an entire system. No new seedlings required, and even the soil itself can regenerate. After several seasons, strawberries deplete specific nutrients. Instead of replacing the soil entirely, growing beans or peas temporarily restores nitrogen naturally through symbiotic bacteria living inside their roots. The soil rebuilds itself biologically. That's the real secret. The system keeps renewing itself. At this point, strawberries stop feeling like delicate plants that constantly fail. You begin seeing them differently, not as fragile crops, but as biological systems responding to their environment. And suddenly, the trash around you starts looking useful too. Foam boxes, fallen leaves, banana peels, eggshells, things most people throw away become insulation, fertilizer, mulch, and living soil. That's the hidden lesson behind natural gardening. Nature wastes almost nothing. It continuously transforms one material into another system of life. So before buying expensive planters or chemical fertilizers, look around first, because the tools for growing incredible strawberries may already be sitting in your kitchen or headed toward the trash. What would you try growing in a foam box first?